welcome to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but still want to be its friend. I'm your host. I'm Dr. Moiya McTier. I'm an astrophysicist, a folklorist, and a friend to the universe. And today I'm joined by Victoria Male, an award-winning writer, a podcaster, and a multimedia producer. Victoria, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me, Moiya. When you announced that you were going to be having guest stars on Pale Blue Pod, I don't think I could have DM'd you quickly enough. I was like, oh my God, can I come party? So I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me. As someone who is genuinely very overwhelmed by the universe, but I think ultimately does want to be its friend. So I do feel like this podcast is for me.
Yay! Oh, you found your people. I found my people. I think you're one of maybe like 3 or 4 people, including Corinne, who's been on both Exolore and Pale Blue Pod.
I feel so special.
You
Thank
are. You are
very
very
like a special little girl. All right, thank you.
You got a gold star today. So today we're going to be talking about the intersection of theater and space. Yes. I'm so excited to see where we take this.
Me too.
But first, because we're talking about theater, let's set the scene. Victoria, where are we recording today?
We are in the Snowdonia National Park in northwestern Wales. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I am such a city girl, but then I went to northwestern Wales. I was like, I think I've been wrong all along. I think I just need a cottage here and a bunch of dogs to hang out with the sheep. And funnily enough, I think the irony of my love for Snowdonia, Northwest Wales, Dolgelly, and specifically this mountain called Cadair Idris is I wrote a horror movie set there. But and my manager's going to be mad at me because he's like, you can't go around saying this, but it's honestly one of the most beautiful, peaceful places I've ever been. But I did set a horror movie that's become a short story. It might have another life and another medium in the next few years. But it's funny because I wrote the script during the pandemic. I'm like, this place is, because it's cool. It's based on folklore and myth of Welsh mythology and a myth around a mountain called Cadair Idris, where if you spend a night alone on the mountain, you wake up a madman, a poet, or not at all. So I interpreted that as you wake up enlightened, crazy, or dead. And I wrote this whole movie in my apartment in LA. And then I got to go there and I was like, oh, this is my favorite place in the world.
Did it live up to your expectations?
Yes, actually it exceeded it, which is so not me. Like in the immortal words of Ariana Grande, the modern philosopher and poet, my imagination.
She woke up a poet on Cadair Idris.
Yes, my imagination's too creative. I'm so good at overhyping things. And I was this trip to Wales was at the time I had a bad injury and I was just living to go to Wales. So the expectations were high and they were exceeded. So I think also Wales hire me to do tourism for I think the tourism board should hire me. It'll be me, Rob McElhenney, and Ryan Reynolds promoting Wales.
I'm sold. I'm ready to buy a ticket right now.
Thank you. Yes.
So are we in a tree-filled area? Could you describe the scene a little more?
Yes. It's not quite, the cool thing about Snowdonia is it's not super dense with trees. It's not super foresty or where I'm thinking of Cadair. But there are beautiful, stunning rolling hills, very green, very lush. But I think when you think of England and the lowlands and the low country, it's very gentle rolling hills. But I think the cool part about Wales is you still have the greenery, but the elevation is more dramatic. And there's a lot of stone, beautiful ancient stones around. And I'm thinking, because we're in Wales, there's a nice pearly gray sky, but not gross grim gray. It's a night, the sun's kind of coming through the gray. We're Wales, we're in the United Kingdom, so it can't be like it is in California where it's sunny and 75 all the time. And then there's sheep all around because Wales equals sheep. And I'm also thinking we have a great view of Lyn Cai, which is the little lake at the base of Cadair Idris that the mountain surrounds it on 3 sides. And that's supposed to be the chair because Cadair Idris means chair of Idris. And Idris was a Welsh king who was mythologized as a giant. So everyone said that kind of where the lake is was the seat of the chair where he would look out on his kingdom.
Oh, they're giving Idris a soggy bottom? That's not very nice.
Yeah. Well, I think back in his day, I don't know if there was a lake yet, but I love the soggy bottom reference because the competitors and the judges of the Great British Bake Off do carry my mental health on their backs.
Thank you.
So
I'm glad you got the soggy bottom
yeah, of
reference.
course. I had a great British Bake Off themed birthday a couple years ago.
Oh my God, you're my hero.
Thank you. In which I baked nothing. So maybe you want to retract that statement.
But did you get other people to bake for you?
We had a cupcake decorating competition. That was the Bake Off element we incorporated.
Nice.
Thank you.
I would have made people bake their favorite technical bakes from the show to bring to me.
I would have been like, I'm doing baked Alaska in the bin. So I brought nothing but myself and something from the store.
Amazing. Well, this is a beautiful setting to talk about a beautiful topic. Today we're talking about theater and astronomy. But before we get into that, we do need to know where to place you, what classes to put you in, what roommates to pair you with, what extracurriculars to send your way here at Pale Blue Podiversity. And we have come up with a foolproof way to learn everything about who you are as a person and a scholar. We have our preliminary exam. There are 8 questions, and there are no wrong answers.
Okay.
Unless you lie to me about who you are.
Okay, cool. All right. I think I can do that.
Great. Yeah, it's like that Monty Python and the Holy Grail thing where I'll ask you your favorite color, and any color will work, but you do have to give me your actual favorite color.
Yeah, no, as long as there's no math, I think I'll be great.
No math. Kind of. We'll see. We'll see.
Let's go.
Number 1, what's your current relationship status with the universe?
My current relationship status is confused, but seeking reconciliation and understanding with the universe, because she throws me a lot sometimes. And I try not to get mad at her and to like go with the flow. But in response, she tends to just throw me more. So it feels like we're a little fraught, but hopefully through my time here at Pale Blue Podiversity, we can maybe make some meaningful steps forward.
I think you can. Yeah, our curriculum is designed for the people who want to become closer to the universe. It's designed to help that happen.
Amazing.
We have some couples counselors for you in the universe.
Yeah, no, we're going to need it. We're going to need the best you got.
Okay, that's good to know. Question number 2. This is the mathiest it's going to get.
Okay.
And no is a full sentence. Do you have a favorite equation?
No, I don't think I do. Because like equation requires a certain amount of math that like I can't do. Like when you're placing me in classes, it's like you can put me in the most advanced humanities and then like elementary school math.
Okay. Well, we'll put you in the concept-based classes.
Yes.
Then.
Well, I will never forget too, because you are an astrophysicist. I will never forget when I went to do my undergrad at University of North Carolina. We were enrolling in classes, and we had, I had a fantastic advisor. We were picking our sciences, because we had our science requirement. And I was like, I want to do astronomy like in Harry Potter. And astronomy and like also stars, and I'm a star. And so like this makes a lot of sense to me. And thank God my advisor was like, are you good at math? I'm like, no. And he's like, no astronomy for you, sweetheart. Like, no. You're going to really regret that decision. And I'm so glad he told me that. And I listened to him, and I took geology. I did rocks instead. And I think he's a big reason I have a degree from the University of North Carolina and didn't flunk out.
Wow. That's great, because I cannot tell you the number of like football bros, or honestly lax bros, that I saw try to take astronomy classes in the first week of school because they thought it would be just like an easy stargazing course. Yeah. And then they get hit with all the math.
Yeah, and it's just not a good time.
It's not a good time for them. So thank you to that advisor.
Yeah, and I did enjoy my geology course. We had like a lab that was kind of proper geology, but I did really like my lecture, which was Violent Earth. So it's all about all the crazy things that make the Earth go crazy and mad.
It's quite active.
Yeah. Yes.
But we'll put you in the concept-based classes, because here at the Podiversity, we're not trying to make a bunch of research astrophysicists.
Okay, great.
That is not our goal here. So, not everyone needs to know the math of it.
Yeah, we all have different strengths.
Exactly. And some would say that those strengths and weaknesses we have are based on when we were born.
Yes.
And where the Earth was relative to the sun when we were born.
Yes.
So, you don't have to tell me what your sign is if you don't want to, but do you feel like your zodiac sun sign specifically matches you?
Yes. I am a Leo. I know that's going to come as a total shock. I am a very Leo.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
I love astrology. I actually use it a lot in my writing to help give my character, flesh out characters, or when I'm writing, I adapt a lot. So if I'm writing something based on real people or using real people, I look up their star sign and I look up their chart. And I think it actually helps me understand them a lot better. So yes, I'm a Leo. Birthday's August 1st. I think I'm done a good job because, it's not just about the sun sign, it's about the big three. So my moon sign is Virgo, which I think is very good because, and some people will be like, no, that's a nightmare because not only are you a show off, you're also a perfectionist and very type A. But I think it helps ground me because I think sometimes, and I can say this because I am a Leo, sometimes us Leos get a little too into main character syndrome and we really do think life is a movie. And I have Leo friends who sometimes I'm like, I'm telling you to come back down to earth. And that's really saying something.
That's a good litmus test. If the Leo's trying to set some reason, let's take a step back.
But a very proud and very unabashed Leo sun.
Oh, love it. Love it. Okay. Next question. What's the best planet?
Okay. Think long, think wrong. I was thinking Saturn. This could be very Leo superficial because I think the prettiest, most colors, the rings. I also think Saturn, again, to go back to astrology, Saturn is the planet of discipline. And when you go through your Saturn return, it's when life, sometimes people say it's your quarter life crisis and and that's also in the mid, because Saturn takes, it takes 28 and a half years to return where it was in your chart. I'm not going to say I'm going to use astrology terms because I'm talking to an astrophysicist. I'm like, it takes 20.5 years to do the thing. The thing.
The thing.
But I think Saturn is it's the stern, disciplined teacher, but it's also kind of where with my Saturn return, I did a lot of transformation. And then I love the rings. I love the rings and the colors because again, I'm also in elementary school math.
I love that. That's a great answer. My Saturn's return was definitely a time of transformation. My ex-fiance left me and I had to learn how to be an adult on my own. It was
How dare.
I'm going to say great, but I need you to imagine the upside down smiley face emoji next to it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, great. And then next to that one is the melting emoji. It's the face melting.
Yes.
Big mood.
Truly am so much better off though.
Yes. Yeah, because then once you come out of it, you're like, that was what that was Mr. Toad's wild ride, but I am ultimately better for this.
Yes. Thanks, Saturn. Okay, imagine you are an astronaut going on a mission. Maybe you're going to go see and study Saturn's rings. Okay. What song are you going to listen to during your blast off?
Oh, this is a great question. I guess the first song that came to mind, E.T. by Katy Perry.
Look, it was a banger.
Because it's it has a good build. And I think because also I do love the idea of hot aliens from outer space who just look like mortal men thanks to superhero media. So I'm like Clark Kent is an alien, but it's just a very attractive man. And then Thor and Loki from Marvel, they're just hot. Right. So I'm like, oh, there you
go. Yeah. I don't like when aliens in sci-fi look so humanoid. I think we probably talked about this on the Exolore episode. It is my great pet peeve. But they're hot sometimes. This is saying a lot about me. The aliens from sci-fi that I find the most attractive are not the normal human-looking ones.
No, we have talked about this.
Okay, good.
Yes, I love that for you. Obsessed.
Thanks. Okay, that's a great song. I'm actually making a playlist of all of the songs that the guest stars say for this question.
It's like John Williams Star Wars, and I'm like Katy Perry, but not the version with Kanye West. The album version.
Important distinction.
Because I actually like her bridge better too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the bridge is what's playing right as you take off.
You always get all. Yeah,
perfect. You have to get people in mission control to time it just right.
Yeah, truly.
Okay, next question. Would you rather be an M-type star that burns low and slow or an O-type star that burns hot and fast?
M-type. Because I feel like that's what I tell myself I am in real life as a human. low and slow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was always told I don't want to peak too early or hot and fast. I think low and slow is better.
Yeah. Take your time. Make sure you don't make as many mistakes. Be just a little bit more careful. That makes sense. Last longer.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Second to last question. What is something that is scarier than a black hole?
I don't want to get political.
You can. You can. One person said before that the one thing scarier would be another Trump presidency.
Yeah, that. And just men continuing making decisions about women's bodies. And I think we should all be in conversation. But I think the scary thing is, at least in America, is that also we haven't done a lot of study on women's bodies and we don't talk about women's bodies a lot. So it's like, I think I'm happy to call men into the conversation, but there's a little bit of a education gap that needs to be closed. Forced birth. Next question. We go from Katy Perry to...
Look, astronomy is all about the highs and the lows. It's all about the extremes.
We're celestial beings that contain multitudes.
Truly. The final question, what constellation do you think we should get rid of, and what should we replace it with?
Do I know? I don't know if I know enough about this question. I don't... So... Moiya, I'm going to let you choose which one we should get rid of, and we're going to replace it with the constellation of Hercules from the 1997 animated classic, Disney's Hercules.
Perfect. Okay. In that case, we're getting rid of Microscopium, which I think is the worst named constellation.
Yeah.
There's a whole little cluster of constellations named after scientific instruments. So there's a telescopium, which is at least relevant to astronomy. But the microscopium one just it rubs me the wrong way.
And this is like what you said. We need the vibes guy, and I'm pointing to myself. Then we need the mathematicians and the astrophysicists, and together we're just going to name it Hercules. Disney's Hercules, 1997. You're right.
Specifically Disney's Hercules, parentheses, 1997. Okay, well, yeah, we're putting you in the concept classes.
Good.
I think that we are going to maybe put you in some constellation classes too. And
for the vibes, not for the science.
For the vibes. Yes. All of your, like an individual education plan, all of your professors are going to get the message that you are there for vibes.
Yeah, it's like the special note next to me in the roll call.
Yeah, if you ever have any midterms, it's you're gonna get an extra vibe check for the midterm.
Great.
But I love that we ended on Hercules, though, because that does transition so beautifully into the topic of today's episode, which is where astronomy and theater intersect. Can we talk a bit about our theater backgrounds? Like, what is your relationship to theater like?
Oh, I mean, I grew up a theater kid. I fell in love, again, I think really through the Disney Renaissance animated movies. I fell in love with theater and musical theater. I grew up right outside of New York City, so I was very blessed and privileged. I got to go see Broadway at a really early informative age. I have a degree in theater, believe it or not. I know everyone's like, she has a degree. I have a bachelor's in dramatic art from the University of North Carolina, as well as media studies. So I am a huge theater nerd and film nerd. And I love storytelling through a bunch of different mediums. But yeah, I grew up in theater. I love theater. I try to go to theater as often as I can. This is kind of a flex, and I'm sorry, but the last thing I saw on Broadway, I got to go to a Broadway show when I was in New York last, and I did get to see Oh, Mary of Cole Scola, and it was life-changing. It's amazing. It's a revisionist and very deeply comedic, deeply revisionist, not necessarily historically accurate take on Mary Todd and Abe Lincoln, and it's amazing.
Oh, so cool. So this has been a lifelong passion of yours.
Yes, and love. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
For sure.
Many people don't know this about me, actually. I haven't talked about it much on air, but I was also a theater kid. I directed my school play high school year. I was the stage manager for 2 years, although it might as well have been the stage master.
Slay, Capricorn.
Yes. Everything was color-coded. All of the props were in specially designated places based on when they would be used. It was my dream. position. But I only ever acted on stage once because someone was sick. And as the stage manager, I knew all of the lines. We didn't have understudies. The school was too small.
Yeah, naturally. Well, I mean, no, my claim to fame was senior year of high school. I was Golda in Fiddler on the Roof, which was big. And then we got to, the seniors used to direct one-act plays. And I wrote my own one-act. It was called Little Stallings.
You wrote it?
And it was, writing.
You got in early.
I did. That was like one of the only times in the first 25 years of my life I let anyone look at what I was writing. But yeah, it was Little Stallings, and it was about a couple that goes to a pizzeria in Secaucus, New Jersey, that is run like a communist country. So the freezer is the gulag, and that's where you get sent if the proprietor doesn't like you. It's supposed to be like soup Nazi, but pizza communist.
Okay.
and I was like, yeah, I love doing this. I was like, oh, this is cool.
And then you stuck with it.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, well, today I figured we could talk about some plays that are set in space, some references to space that are made in popular plays, and then I thought of a couple of interesting overlaps in astronomy culture and theater culture.
Love it.
So we can.
That's
we can
only
chat
you
about
could
those.
do, Moiya.
I am at the center of a lot of weird Venn diagrams, so I'm used to
best.
It is.
But yes, okay. Because also, I know you said you looked at plays. When we were talking about this before, I went and did as someone who played Golda in her high school production of Fiddler on the Roof. I went the more musical theater route, so we could
awesome.
Do everything. But did you quickly? I don't want to take over the show, but did you find a dearth of?
I did.
Yeah.
I was surprised that there was such a dearth. I expected that because humans have been basically obsessed with space for thousands of years, that it would have wormed its way into this part of our culture, but it wasn't much.
One theory when I was thinking about this yesterday is because as someone who's worked in prose and and audio and feature films and television, I've done a little bit of everything now. The thing about theater is that typically, especially straight plays rather than musicals, tends to be very contained. But then also, I'm like, why hasn't there been more set on a spaceship, which is arguably one of the most contained environments there is?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up because I was also wondering what the difference was because there's so much astronomy in movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
So there must be something different about the mechanics of how you put on a play. And I'm wondering if it's harder to make a set because astronomy is also so much about perspective, like perspective looking out at things. And so when I was trying to think of how I would physically create a set for a play based on astronomy and set in space, it was really difficult. Like I was thinking that you would have to really change the theater, along the lines of what they had to do for Spider-Man, right? Because like you have to go out into the audience and look at the stars there. So yeah, I think you're onto something.
Yeah, but then at the same time, I think as for fellow writers and creators, it's like, well, that's also an interesting white space. Like, because if we want to keep things contained in one set, spaceship.
There you go. Or an observatory. Like that's also a very set space, a lab. Like there are contained environments where science gets done.
Yeah. But all the theater kids are like, we can't do math. We don't know. They put us in geology and not astronomy.
That's so true. Oh, well, then people like us need to write at
We're
it.
We're breaking down the barriers. And look for Moiya and I's space play working title coming to a theater near you.
Yes, be on the lookout. Okay, so we've both noticed this kind of dearth. I overestimated how many there would be. So what did you find when you looked out there?
Yes. Okay, so this is where, again, my Virgo moon comes in. I made kind of like subcategories. So first, I'm going to go big to kind of small.
Love.
The biggest kind of stages for theater, in the Western world at least, is Broadway and West End. So I found two interesting examples of shows set in space.
Awesome.
So the first one is called Starmites, and it premiered off-Broadway in 1987. And then went to Broadway in 1989. It was actually nominated, this musical was nominated for 6 Tonys in 1989. It didn't win any of them, but it's always, it's an honor to be nominated.
Always.
Music and lyrics were by Barry Keating and a book by Stuart Ross and Barry Keating. And I'm going to give you the little synopsis because this actually sounds a lot I think we should revive this. I know several Broadway producers listen to this, and I'm ready. So shy teenager Eleanor has built a fantasy world around the sci-fi comic books she collects. To the distress of her mother, she has learned to avoid the pains of growing up by escaping into fantasy, imagining herself to be an unrecognized superhero. This also might just be my life.
Yeah, this is very relatable.
I know, it feels very us-coded. When she is mysteriously thrust into the website world of her favorite comic book, Eleanor is drawn into the conflict between Shock Gra, arch creep of chaos, my ex-boyfriend, and the Starmites, guardian angels of inner space. She turns out to be the legendary Milady, a teen superhero who must lead the mites on their quest to save the galaxy. Standing in her way are a colorful assortment of Bowie-esque villains, including the delightfully flamboyant diva, queen of inner space.
I love everything.
So if I don't get the role, if I'm not Eleanor,
Yes.
I'm obviously her. And her Banshee warriors, Destiny's Child-esque sirens.
Wait, say that. Did you say Destiny's Child?
Yes, I think actually now is the freaking time for this play, given that I think this, I honestly, if I'm thinking like 89, I think this musical was literally just like 5 years before its time. Okay, I'm going to reread this again because I haven't even gotten to the best part yet. So standing in Eleanor's way to save the galaxy are a colorful assortment of Bowie-esque villains, including the delightfully flamboyant diva, queen of inner space, and her Banshee warriors, who are Destiny's Child-ish sirens with a ravenous hunger for boy bands.
This needs to be revived. I would go see it in a heartbeat. Are you kidding
I would
me?
be there every GD night. And then with the help of, oh wait, we're not even done yet. With the help of hip-hop heartthrob space punk, Eleanor learns to own up to the inner power she has always denied, defeating her foes and conquering the evil force of the cruelty. Actually, I have some friends who have theater companies in LA, and they will be getting a call from me being like, guys, I think we should do this.
Yes.
Because this is amazing.
Look, if you need an astro person to lend some legitimacy
Please,
to it,
consultant.
I'm here.
It's happening.
I'm
I
set.
literally am going to call my friends. I'm texting my friends as soon as we get off this Zoom. Like, loves, we have to do this.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's another one. It was on off-Broadway, but it did go to the West End in England, called Return to the Forbidden Planet. Premiered in London in 1983. And then there was a West End production of it in 1989.
That's
there
a
was
big
something
year.
about like the late 80s, early 90s for these kind of space age musicals. It was on the West End, and it won the Olivier, which is the English Tony, for Best Musical in 1989 and 90. And then there was an off-Broadway production in 91 in New York. This is basically a theater astronomy crossover where it's a jukebox musical by Bob Carlton based on the 1956 science fiction film Forbidden Planet, which in turn is loosely based on Shakespeare's play The Tempest. The show features a score of 1950s and 1960s rock and roll classics like Great Balls of Fire, It's a Man's World, She's Not There, Heard It Through the Grapevine. And then the dialogue is largely adapted from well-known passages of Shakespeare. Hello.
Perfect.
Like, come on.
That's so
What a slay.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, again, taking like rock and Shakespeare and then putting it into space, I'm into it. And as an adapter, I love taking like Shakespeare and songs. And as someone who loves musical theater but can't write music, never met it. I'm so good at I love a jukebox musical. I do think like it's been like 30-ish years. Like it's kind of, I don't know. Are we uncovering that it's time to revive?
And it's also like the season of revivals. That's what everything is right now. So lean into it and revive some actually cool shit.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
Hey friends, Victoria went to go pet some sheep and they are looking so fluffy, I truly cannot blame her. I figured I would use this time to share some messages and thank yous with you, starting off with a huge thank you to all of the patrons who support this show every single month. I could not make this show without you. I need you to pay my editor and to help keep this whole Pale Blue Pod ship afloat as I pass through the sea of trying to share the universe with you. All right, that metaphor is done. But thank you to all the patrons, especially thank you to my sun-like stars, Scott Reynolds, Augustin, Tom T, Mark Mahoney, and Nicole Bartlett. You are all golden. I love you so much. And very exciting, thank you to the latest pre-main sequence star, Peter Prime. That's such like a comic book name, Peter Prime. I hope you're having a great day, and thank you for joining this awesome club of patrons. You too can become a patron, support an independent podcast, and get research notes for almost every single episode by joining my Patreon for just about $1 per episode. Some, like stars, pay a little bit more, but they get access to Pale Blue Pod at night, where I read calming stories to you to help you fall asleep. Right now, I'm reading my PhD dissertation. And if you pay a little bit more than that, you become an O star and you can get unabridged videos of guest recordings. You can join at patreon.com/palebluepod. And if you can't support the show financially, that's totally fine. You're still space. I love you very much. The best way to help the show grow is to actually share it with your friends. Like, take a link to a specific episode and send it to them. Word of mouth is really powerful. So whatever you can do to help Pale Blue Pod, I would appreciate it so much. All right, I have a podcast recommendation for you. This is another show in the Multitude Collective, and it's called Attach Your Resume. This is a brand new show from Multitude that interviews online creators about how their jobs work and how they got there. You can hear the personal stories behind seismic events in digital media and learn what concrete steps we can take to build a sustainable media landscape. That's something that all of us here at Multitude are really passionate about. Attach Your Resume is hosted by longtime podcasters and business owners Eric and Amanda, and the show proves that the best credentials for deciding the future of media is actually making stuff, which Eric and Amanda have been doing for a long time. New episodes come out every Thursday, that is until they run out of episodes and have to go make more, so subscribe now, get in on the ground floor to Attach Your Resume. You can search for Attach Your Resume in your favorite podcast app. All right, one last message. I am doing a holiday sale on all Pale Blue Pod merch. From now until January 12th, you can get 20% off of the Eat the Sun sweatshirt and the Moon is for the People t-shirt. You can head to the merch tab at palebluepod.com or to the link in this episode's description and use the code PBPODHOLIDAY20 at checkout. Again, that's a 20% discount off of all Pale Blue Pod merch with the code PBPODHOLIDAY20, and that's in all caps. All right, Victoria is back. She looks even more happy than she did before, which I didn't think was possible, but, you know, when you're petting sheep, extra happiness can be created. So let's get back to this conversation about theater.
So then I wanted to do something else because, again, like Starmites and Return to the Forbidden Planet, we haven't, I'm sure maybe you can find a recording somewhere on YouTube. I didn't really look. But, these shows haven't been performed for upwards of 30 years. So I wanted to give a recommendation. And this was the first thing I thought of about theater in space. And this musical is in its entirety on YouTube. So everyone can watch it. Moiya, I can send you the link if we want to link to it. But the musical is called Starship. It's by the theater group Team StarKid. Fellow nerds might know them for their Harry Potter parody musicals. So Starship is a Team StarKid original production. It was performed at the Hoover Leppen Theater in Chicago in 2011. The musical, or at least the first part of the musical, has over 2.1 million views on YouTube. And it won the Best New Work Award in the 2011 Broadway World Chicago Awards. The book, so the non-singing parts, were written by Joseph Walker, Nick Lang, and Matt Lang, and Brian Holden. And then music was by this guy no one knows, Darren Criss. So, and this is, I love the way they pitch this is basically it's The Little Mermaid, but in space with bugs. So
I loved it. And then you said bugs, and then I got scared. But I'm here.
Have you not seen Starship?
No.
Oh, it's great. Oh my God, it's so cool. But the bugs, they're like bug aliens and it's all puppetry.
Oh,
and it's
I do
brilliant.
Like puppets.
Oh, you'll love you girl, you have to watch this. You'll love it. It's great.
Send it over.
On a far off world, Bug longs to be a Starship Ranger, but there's one thing they are that he's not, human. But Bug's bug world is about to be turned on its thorax. And he's in for the adventure of his 6-day lifespan in this sci-fi musical extravaganza. So he gets to turn into a human for an X amount of time, and he tries to join the Starship Ranger.
So it's reverse metamorphosis.
Yes. And then there's actually another Team StarKid show that was done in 2014 in Chicago called Annie, and that's a Star Wars parody, like Annie, like Anakin.
Oh. That's interesting. Is it similar to like Annie, like Little Orphan Annie story?
No, I think it's similar to like we're making fun of Star Wars.
Okay.
It's more Spaceballs than I think it is Annie. But I think the joke is like Annie's obviously a very famous musical, and this is Annie like Anakin. So again, the book was by Nick and Matt Lang. Music was by Clark Baxtresser and Pierce Siebers. Sorry, Pierce, if I'm saying your last name wrong. And again, this is on YouTube, so everyone can look this up and watch it. It has over 1.3 million views. Annie Skywalker is in the dumps. His wife is dead. He's stuck in a bogus government job he hates. He spends most of his time staring out into space, thinking about the good old days. But things are about to change for Annie as he sets off for an adventure in the galaxy's biggest comeback. So I think it's a fun, humorous take on Star Wars if like Vader hated his life, which I think is hilarious. And only the Star Kid guys can do that and then write like a ton of great music that goes along with it. Yes. So that was like Broadway, West End, off-Broadway, kind of new theater. And then this is kind of like the world, like kind of classic sci-fi that has like tangential connections to space.
Well, I found a couple that are set in space. That are like more recent, that are smaller. I saw one that was put on in Chicago, like at a local Chicago theater a couple of years ago in 2022. And that one was an adaptation of a movie from 1953 called It Came from Outer Space. It was a comedy musical about a bunch of aliens who crash near a small town in the U.S. and then kind of start taking over the town. And then I saw another one that is a new musical comedy from this year, 2024, and it was put on by the Manhattan School of Music as like a first run. And it's called Good Luck in Space.
Slay. A slay of a title.
So Good Luck in Space is set in 2224, so 200 years in the future. Women rule the world. And finally. There's a virus that's wiping out the population. And I guess the only possible cure that they can imagine for the virus has been invented by this scientist who is somehow being held captive in space and needs to be rescued. So the play is about an all-women astronaut crew going on a quest to rescue this one scientist who has the cure for this great virus. You can see that like this is a new play. You can like definitely see the news cycle and current events working its way into this story.
Yes, 1,000%. That seems super interesting. A lot, like everyone says that like theater takes forever. So like when I was talking about Starmates or like Forbidden Planet, like there's like several productions, before something goes, there's workshops and like off-Broadway productions before something just goes to Broadway or the West End. Also, thinking of something a little better known and again, easily accessible since I hope Good Luck in Space and it came from outer space, like blows up. Also Chicago, as you can tell, the Star Kid shows, that is like the hotbed for cool new theater is Chicago.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know this, Moiya, because I feel like you're more of a fan of this franchise than I am. There was a musical episode last year in 2023 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
My mom has been telling me about this musical episode since it came out, and I haven't watched this series of Star Trek, but I'm tempted to just watch the musical episode to appease her.
Yes, I've watched some of it. So basically the premise, it's season 2, episode 9. It aired in August 2023. The episode's called Subspace Rhapsody. And so the premise is an accident with an experimental quantum probability field causes everyone on the Enterprise to break uncontrollably into song. But the real danger is that the field is expanding and beginning to impact other ships, allies and enemy alike. So what I found really impressive is that everyone sings. So if you ever wanted Spock or Kirk to sing, this is your bag. And what I found really impressive is there were 9 original songs written for this episode by Kay Henley and Tom Pulch of the band Letters to Cleo, and they got assistance from Dana Horgan and Bill Wolkoff. Can you tell I'm a writer? I'm like, we must always credit the people, not just the stars. And it says a little like behind the scenes as the songs were written for the episode and built around both the actors' respective singing abilities and vocal abilities, and then the substance of the songs were built thematically around character arcs that had been plotted out for the entire season. So I think it's cool. I think it's actually, I couldn't believe it was this recent that it took Star Trek this long to do a musical. And we've had so many Star Treks, and it wasn't until this Trek that we got music.
Which is really interesting because I feel like the heyday of the TV show's musical episode was in like the 20 teens.
Or like even the early aughts, 90s. Yeah, because I know that musical episode of Buffy.
I literally just watched Once More with Feeling because I'm doing a rewatch of Buffy.
Amazing.
Buffy is one of my favorite shows ever. And Once More with Feeling is so good.
Yes. As is the musical episode of Scrubs, which was, again, early aughts. Like
the next one I was going to bring up because I definitely didn't expect Scrubs to do a musical episode. But yeah, I feel like there was a time when everyone did one. And it's weird that it took Star Trek so long to do it because they're usually ahead of the curve.
Right. And I read that part of, I think one of the producers or the directors of Strange New World had also worked on The Flash and like the Arrowverse. And it was apparently the success of the Arrowverse's musical episode, which just featured everyone who was on Glee. Since they did that pretty well, they're like, okay, maybe we can try this with Star Trek. But I'm just honestly like, go off 9 original, because like a network TV episode is only about 42 minutes. So that's a lot of music.
Yeah, that must have taken so long for them to develop.
Yes, it's like, that's not easy. Because also a network TV schedule is aggressive.
Yes.
Then the two kind of more tangential classic musical theater space references are obviously Rocky Horror. Doc and Frankenfurter describes themselves as a alien transvestite from the planet Transsexual in the galaxy of Transylvania. Work. And then in Little Shop of Horrors, Audrey 2 is from space, the plant.
This is one of my favorite pieces of eclipse trivia.
Yes.
For the solar eclipse that moved across North America in April, I did a bunch of trivia things for it. But yeah, I completely forgot about that connection.
Yeah. I hadn't put it together. I'm like, so again, there's obviously a lot of white space for theater in space and astronomy. And I think it's interesting that you found these two very new works because maybe things are coming back into fashion and now we'll get more astronomy, space-based theater.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I know I'm biased, but I would love to see more astronomy-based media stuff. I did see a lot of plays that are based on astronomers' lives.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How am I thinking about Bertolt Brecht and Galileo?
And Galileo, yes, the life of Galileo.
There's that theater degree. And I'm like, oh my God. I read that. I'm such an idiot.
No, there you go. So that's one. Lauren Gunderson has Silent Sky, which is about Henrietta Swan Leavitt, who we just covered on the pod a couple of episodes ago. She was a deaf astronomer who was one of the people who discovered this particular type of variable star called a Cepheid variable. And so Silent Sky, I think, is probably a nod to her deafness. Siobhan Nichols has a play about the lives of Jocelyn Bell Burnell, who discovered pulsars, and Caroline Herschel, who was William Herschel's sister and did a lot of work, quote unquote, assisting him. To the point where sometimes when he was just so wrapped up in his work, she would literally spoon feed him his meals so that he didn't have to stop doing his observations. But we also know that she was an accomplished astronomer in her own right because she discovered some comets. She published actually, I don't remember if she published under her own name, but she did discover comets and she put together catalogs of different things that she found in the sky. So who's to say that all of the stuff we credit to William Herschel was actually him doing it? You know?
For sure.
But yeah, Siobhan Nichols' play Stella is about those two scientists and like their interactions with their work and also the men in their lives.
Wow.
And then like there are some classic plays that have references to space that are so well known we almost forget about them being references to space. Right. Shakespeare has so many references to stars. The star-crossed lovers, being born under a bad star. And that is because at least Shakespeare, writing in the 1500s, that was still a time when the mysticism around space was very much in vogue. So around the time that Galileo looked through a telescope for the first time and saw that the Milky Way is made of individual stars, started to see star spots on our sun, and started to break down the geocentric model and shift towards heliocentrism. Some star references are to be expected, when that's like in the zeitgeist. But I think it's extra interesting because this is kind of the tail end of the period where stars were divine, where stars were still more in mythology than in science. And so there were a lot of cultures that saw the stars and especially the sun as more like divine figures.
Interesting.
Kepler, for example, believed that the sun was a physical manifestation of God. So that was like in it. Astrology was really big at the time. People were
I'm born in the wrong time.
You were. Well, 75 million Americans check their horoscope every single day.
And I'm proud to be one of them.
Good. I do not begrudge or judge anyone for reading or listening to astrology. Absolutely not. As long as you're not using it to harm yourself or others, go for it. But it was very much embedded in the culture in the time that Shakespeare was writing. And so terms like star-crossed lovers would refer to these two people who were astrologically not a good pair. And so Shakespeare, knowing that his audience was aware of this type of relationship that you could have based on astrology, he worked that into his plays and made it a hint that these, because it was first used in Romeo and Juliet, the star-crossed lovers. And so it was used as foreshadowing or like a little hint that these two characters are, like, even the universe doesn't want them to be together.
Right. Oh my gosh. I just remembered another play that I have seen. Constellations by Nick Payne. The play premiered in London at the Royal Court in 2012. They revived it in 2021 at the Drury Theatre, I'm pretty sure, in London. So the play follows Marianne, a physicist, and Roland, a beekeeper, through their romantic relationship. And Marianne often waxes poetic about cosmology, quantum mechanics, string theory, and the belief that there are multiple universes that pull people's lives in various directions. This is reflected in the play's structure as brief scenes are repeated, often with different outcomes. So it's a romance, it's a tearjerker. I don't want to give too much away about the play, but what was so cool and like reflecting the multiple universe thing, the production I saw, they had several different casts of Marianne and Roland. Like when I saw Omari's two men, like I think originally it was written as a man and a woman, but the cool thing about Constellations is they did it with the same play with several different casts to show like that plethora of possibilities. And yeah, it was brilliant. And then, I'm sure maybe I didn't remember it because I was just thinking of how great Omari was. And then they're talking like quantum mechanics and string theory. I'm like, great.
In the play, they like have lines about quantum theory. That's cool.
I mean, it's been like 3+ years, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because they're a physicist. So there's like another astronomy connection to theater.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah. Just off the top of my head, couldn't think of other like well-known references in or out of Shakespeare. But when I like got my brain motor running on that, it ran in a different direction towards these weird cultural overlaps between astronomy communities and theater communities. And just like a couple of things here. Both communities are really good at respecting reference frames. So in astronomy, we know that space doesn't prefer one direction over another, that there's no up or down. Even on big enough scales, gravity doesn't work in one specific direction because there are massive objects all around you pulling you with their gravity. So we are always very careful to say what our reference frame is. If you're giving a velocity for a planet around a star, you have to say, is that velocity relative to the star that it's orbiting or to like the center of the galaxy that it's in, for example. In theater, this...
Me wanting... I just like, you saying these words, I just start crying.
In theater, they also have to deal with multiple perspectives at once because there are the actors on stage and the audience looking at them, and their perspective is flipped from each other. So one of my favorite things about theater, and I still use this today, is the house left versus stage left thing, where you say explicitly what perspective or what reference frame you're using for your directions. And I admire that a lot.
That's so brilliant. And also, and I guess as an actor too, it's like your experience of the play will be completely different. And I don't know if this is right because you were talking about physics was my worst subject in school. So I don't know if this is right, but also just like from the character, like there's the audience perspective and then there's one character's perspective and another character's perspective. And then also talking about my queen stage master, then there's just like the people you don't see behind the scenes, making sure the audience's perspective is perceived in a certain way.
Yes.
Of all the techies that we could not do it without.
Even the act of like marking the stage for character placement or for like furniture placement, like props, whatever. Setting a specific point in space to be the reference point. We often do this when we're doing our observations, where if we want to study a field of stars, we will pick one star that we know very well to be the calibration star. And we like set our telescope to that and we study it. And then we use whatever measurements we get to calibrate the stars around it so that we know, like if the instrument has been upgraded or if the atmospheric conditions are a little bit different from night to night, using a reference star to calibrate gives us like a consistency in our information.
So what you're saying is I'm basically an astrophysicist.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I knew it.
As are all actors. Or anyone who's ever gone to see a play, really.
Right. Yes. No, don't take that. Don't. No, it's just me.
No, just you. It's just you.
Totally get it. That's amazing. Yeah, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, that was my favorite one that I thought of. I also realized that both actors on stage and astronomers pay a lot of attention to lighting. Like a lot of what we do is fiddling with lighting apparatus.
Actors almost toxically so, especially in film. Oh my God, I have stories. Wait, hold on, but finish
Please,
your point.
no, tell me your story. That was the point was that like we're all obsessed with lights.
Oh my God, especially women, like actresses. I will never forget because it is all about lighting. I think now is like with the proliferation of social media and that we're all photographers now, it's all about the light.
Right. There's so many ring lights or attachable
and like
things that you can do.
I'm doing this right now, making sure I'm facing the natural light. But something I discovered when I started working in film is obviously the director is like the most important person on set and the producers are like God, but like right under the director, and you'll see a lot of directors, once they find this person, they work with them for almost decades. As a cinematographer. And cinematographer tends to deal mostly with light. And they're so essential in executing a director's vision. So it's either cinematographer or director of photography or DP.
I was going to ask how it compares to the DP. Okay.
Yeah, it's interchangeable, really. And one of my favorite cinematographers, Rodrigo Prieto. He is this amazing cinematographer. He was the DP on Killers of the Flower Moon and Barbie.
Oh.
So it's giving range. It's giving we contain multitudes. The way I learned in which light is so important is I will never forget the first big movie I worked on. Raquel Welch was in it. And if anyone doesn't know who Raquel Welch is, she was this bombshell from the 60s. And before this woman even set foot in Kentucky where we were shooting, we had to get special lights, special filters. She had to have I think 1 or 2 calls not with the director, but the cinematographer with how she was going to be lit. So my little 22, 23-year-old self was like, lighting's important. If Raquel Welch is like, we got to get the light right for the face, then.
I really wonder what that conversation looked like. Were they talking specific RBG color combinations that they want? Are they talking lumens? Like, you cannot light me more than 5 lumens. Like, I'm so curious.
Yeah, and also I just think maybe I want a certain type of soft lighting so because I remember we had special lights, like Raquel only scene lights that we brought in for her scenes. I mean, and again, I don't want to judge because obviously being a woman of a certain age and also a woman who was in her prime, quote unquote, because how dare, but a woman who came to prominence in her youth in the 60s film in the entertainment industry, that's not an easy path.
No.
So obviously male dominated. And I think obviously she became such a sex symbol too. And that's really hard as a woman to be. So I don't want to judge her, but I remember it was just fascinating because it was my first film. It was this whole new world of what's important and what's not, and how all the sausage is made behind the scenes.
So cool. I also imagine coming from the 1960s when the cameras were worse at picking up on subtle lighting, so the lighting would have been more harsh and the makeup would have been more exaggerated to like account for that. Lighting probably was drilled into her as an important thing to consider from a very young age in her career.
And then also, like, if you flip that now, because now the cameras are so much better and you can see everything. It's funny. Moiya knows I spent this past summer writing about boy bands, and it's so funny going back and watching old performances because it's like someone smeared Vaseline over the lens, or it's like the video hasn't fully buffered because they're such low quality. And there are two accounts that I'm like, God, like, this is the one thing I like AI for. They like upgraded the footage of the NSYNC concerts. I'm like, thank you. This is an ethical use of AI. So I can watch the Madison Square Garden No Strings Attached tour in high def.
As it was meant to be watched.
As God intended. Just get right in on young Justin Timberlake.
Wow.
But
yeah, I'm watching I Love Lucy now, and it's in, you know, the square format. It's a little grainy.
Yeah.
And just thinking about the makeup that they are wearing in black and white TV, because the cameras couldn't pick up on white. So they're actually, like, a lot of them are wearing green makeup.
Yes.
And like the way that they have to create contrast in different parts of their face with makeup just because the cameras weren't good at picking up on it. Yeah, it's wild to watch old stuff like that.
Yeah. Another great film rec that kind of explores that is, it's not space related, but have you ever seen Pleasantville with Tobey Maguire
Yes,
and Reese
I have.
Witherspoon? Yes. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite movies growing up. I would watch it. It was like we had it on VHS. So
Yeah. Yeah, it was in the rotation.
It was one of the few ones in the rotation. And then the last reference that I could think of was the fact that we call actors stars.
Oh, duh.
Yeah. Like, where did this come from? And so I did some very, very light digging. And, it from what I can tell, it started being used as a word to refer to celebrities in the later 1800s. And
oh, wow.
It came
earlier than I thought.
Yeah. Well, we were using celebrity earlier than I thought. I'm writing a book right now, and the chapter I'm actively working on is about the rise of the cult of celebrity, and I'm examining it through the lens of comedy, television, and radio series, like throughout history.
Wow.
And
I can't wait for this book.
I know. But we were using the term celebrity earlier in the 1800s, and I guess we needed another word for it, or like as language evolves, we usually end up applying more words and terms to concepts that we really pay a lot of attention to. So as the cult of celebrity rose over the 18 and especially early 1900s, we needed more words for it because we were paying more attention to these people. And there are a few reasons that star came to be the word. Some sources that I looked at said that it's because these celebrities, especially once you get like TV, where these people are not just on the news programs and you're hearing their names all the time, but you can see them all the time from the comfort of your own home, and you can develop this sort of intimate relationship, this parasocial relationship with them, that they were kind of ever present in our lives, that they were always looking over us, kind of like the stars were. But there's also this track that gets to the word that is similar to what we talked about with people believing that the sun and other stars were like gods and were divine figures. This idea that the celebrities hold more influence and more power than any other type of person, and that the stars, being likened to gods, also had that type of influence. And with astrology, the stars literally, according to some people, influence our lives and our behavior, and just like celebrities do. So over the last 100 years, 150 years, this term has, I can't think of many other things to call them now. Like, they are the stars. Yeah. They're the stars on Hollywood Boulevard. They're
yes, literally. Mm-hmm. That's so interesting. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I was like, it's because they're so shiny and pretty.
That too. That too. Yeah. And probably something with like the lighting that they have to do, or like all of the glitzy fashion that they would have, especially earlier in the 1900s. Coming out all crusted in diamonds, I imagine makes them sparkle.
It's also been really interesting too, because I feel like we've gone through this weird thing where now, oddly, like celebrity glam and the red carpet has become its own like sub industry, I feel like. And I think it's also with the advent of social media and the omnipresence of celebrity now, that you go and you look at like these old movie premieres from the 90s, and like there's some like iconic moments. Like I think of like Elizabeth Hurley in the Versace safety pin dress is just iconic. Ooh. But like I think of like young women, like Kirsten Dunst, who's one of my favorite actresses, was like in her like butterfly clips and like a dress from Delia's like at the premiere of her movie. And now that would like never happen. Now it's like, who styled you? Who did your makeup? Who did your hair? Where are the shoes from? Yeah. Like it's become this whole image thing of like the stars. And because those images now are distributed so much more widely. It's not like just like,
and instantly
like,
too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just think it's interesting because now it's like a whole industry. Now there's like celebrity stylists and and I think there always were, but now they're almost like celebrities in their own rights. Like people know who Chris Appleton is, and people know who like one of my favorite celeb stylists, like Brad Gresky, and now these people are becoming stars in their own right for making the stars more star-like.
I know of La Roche's name. And like 10 years ago, I never would have known La Roche's name.
Right. Oh my God. How did I forget about La? One of the most iconic.
So iconic. Yeah, you're right. That has been a shift for sure. I remember hearing interviews, like more recent interviews with actresses who came up in that era, and they weren't given stylists. Like now it's a must have. Yeah. Like you have to kind of feed from that industrial complex, from the styling industrial complex, and you have to be a part of it.
See, I can do a scientific study on that. Can I actually do actual stars? No. I don't do math good.
The computers do all the math for you these days, so I think you could make a run at it.
Okay. Thank you, Moiya.
You're welcome.
But yeah. So fascinating.
So fascinating. I feel like we covered more than I expected us to have, honestly.
Same. Look at us go.
Any last thoughts on this central part of the Venn diagram between astronomy and theater?
I think the biggest surprise was once we actually engaged in conversation. It's interesting how much intersection there is. And I also think there's also this, I keep saying this, there's this actually, it feels like as a creator, and it's not just for me, but anyone else listening and out there's a really exciting white space, it seems, of like astronomy and space and storytelling in this way. So I think we've uncovered something kind of exciting.
Yay. Yeah, I was really excited to make this episode. One, because I got to talk to you. And two, because I make this show for people who are not opting in to being considered sciencey people, who do not usually opt into a lot of science content. So I know that a lot of my listeners are more creative people, are people with more of a background in the humanities, also like me. And I wanted this episode to be a way to show that there are really cool intersections where you can be primarily creative, but also incorporate knowledge of, or even just like appreciation for space into it. So, if anyone out there is now inspired to write a play or a song or something and incorporate even just like one line about stars or planets, like go ahead and do it. And you are demonstrating that you are a friend to the universe in that moment.
Yeah, it's easier. I think my big takeaway is it's easier to be a friend to the universe than we thought as theater kids.
Yay. Victoria, how can people follow you? What are you up to, and how can people learn about it online?
Yes. Okay, great. I think the best place to go is my website, victoriamale.com. And my last name is spelled, it's weird in Italian, so it's M as in Mary, A-L-E. Victoria, like the Spice Girl.
The intensity in your eyes just then.
Sorry, because I love her. Like we are. I am posh. Posh is me and I am posh. Because I also like there's a high maintenance one named Victoria. That feels significant.
You really are a Leo.
I know. But okay, victoriamale.com. I have under projects, I have short stories. There's a short story version of Kader Idris, which I talked about at the beginning of our chat. And then there's also a short story that I have called Her Night Off. It is, it just got reprinted in Carmina magazine, which is a literary magazine all about mythology. And it's my take on Selene, the Greek goddess of the moon, and set in New York City. So it's 1,000 words. It's a fun little, very vibey moment if you're into that sort of thing. And then you can follow me at Victoria Male on X Twitter, whatever we're calling it. And then at Victoria Male 1 on Instagram.
Because you're number 1.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I am. No, I'm kidding. I was born on the 1st of August.
Ooh, that'll do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the links to your website will be down in the show notes for this episode. I feel like going for a little downhill stroll. Can we swim in that little lake down there?
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be cold AF, but apparently cold plunge is good for your health. So let's do it.
All right.
And we worked up a sweat just talking all about stars and space and astronomy and theater.
We did, because
So
we got so excited. I actually am quite sweaty.
I'm sure. Can you? Oh, I actually for once don't have pit stains, which is big. It's a big day for me.
So we're gonna do a cold plunge, and listeners, no matter what your internal body temperature is right now, you're still space.
Yeah, and whatever it is, it's valid.
Pale Blue Pod is hosted by me, Dr. Moiya McTier, aka the universe's bestie. I created the show with original co-host Corinne Caputo, a comedienne extraordinaire, and help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston, and our cover art is by Shay McMullen, and our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton. I am Go Astro Mo everywhere online, and you can stay in touch with the show and the universe by following Pale Blue Pod on Instagram or checking out our website, palebluepod.com. We are a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. So if you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live at multitude.productions. And if you want a shout out on the show and research notes for every episode, you can join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod for just about $1 per episode. Thank you so much for listening to Pale Blue Pod. I'll be back next week. Bye.